Well, that became a thing, didn't it? Hey, everybody. How you doing out there? How's it going? How you feeling? How ya? What is going on, everybody? What is the word? This is Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, and I am coming at you live from the Wizard's Tower, and welcome to the dark side of the room. Now, real talk, how can I put this? This is a show where we talk about life, the universe, everything, and a lot of gaming. And that's one of the things that we do. And yep, there we go. I got the predator in the room. It's in the trees, man. It's in the trees. Game over. But yeah, so we are here. We are back. I apologize for my hiatus. And I will bring you guys up to speed on all that jazz. But there's a couple of other things I gotta do real quick, such as let people know, hey, guess what? We're back, we're live, we're doing that whole thing. And yeah, it is seriously a thing. So, doing a couple of new things. In the meantime, how you guys doing out there? Okay? Just wondering. Oh man, I love when I leave the caps lock on. Right now. No, that's not the caps lock, that was a tab. Alright, cool, let's try this again. Alright, cool. Yeah. At twitch.tv/BID_P and here on YouTube. So, all that, we got all that jazz going, and boom. All right, so yeah, we did that whole thing. It has been a thing. So welcome everyone, welcome. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for dealing with my time or should I say with the hiatus that I was unfortunately thrust into. It was not very fun, not very cool. And I will give you guys an update on that. But in the meantime, I want to let you guys know that we're here, we're doing the thing. And again, we have some really fun stuff to talk about today. All right. If you guys are wondering why I'm so tired, I will let you guys know all that. In the meantime, I am putting up in the chat right now. I'm putting up the Discord server. Yeah, because that's what I like to do. And so this is, again, I'm kind of recovering. Psychic damage is in RPGs for a reason, y'all. Oh my god, I have been going through quite a bit. But if you guys want to get a hold of us, I just put the Discord server in the chat, so isn't that fun? Let's see who's here real quick. All right, wow, Clever Little Vixen's already here and they're holding it down. That is awesome. And who's with us over here on okay, there we go. Cool. And if you guys want to get a hold of us or have any questions or comments or all that stuff, open up your email thing and type in backinthedeck@gmail.com. It's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. And of course, send me an email. You can also hit me up on all of the social media that everyone has, but no one likes for some reason. And that would also be over on Twitter and Instagram, all that stuff. So the next big part, this is the part where I beg, and I do appreciate you guys for allowing us to beg and doing all that jazz. And that is subscribe to the channel or head over to patreon.com/BID_P. Become a patron, and I worked out a few other things to deal with. Like I said, I'll be talking about this stuff during the show, and we will get on about all that jazz. But in the meantime, in between time, welcome to the show, and let's talk about some stuff. All right, so Let me think, what am I missing here? Oh, yeah, that is what I'm missing. So yeah, if you guys hadn't noticed, I am tired. All right. Been going through some stuff with the brick and mortar portion of Back in the Deck, along with a lot of personal finance stuff that's been determining whether or not we can stay open and continue to do our things. And I think I might be in a position a lot better than I was 2 weeks ago. But that required me taking a week off, thinking about a couple of things, making a few phone calls, checking international markets. It's a chore. I'll let you guys know. Being an adult, I'm not going to say it sucks, but it does have a whole lot of hard work. For those of you guys in the know, you know how difficult the week has been for me. And for those of you not in the know, ready to come inside? Okay, good. Thursday, I had a birthday. That was a real big thing. I had a birthday on Thursday, and my birthdays are generally not that cool. I hate to say it like that, but yeah, real talk. They're really not. They tend to be a whole bunch of headache. And this one wasn't terrible, but yeah, it wasn't nearly as good as a person might actually want it to be. You know what I mean? So yeah, there was a lot of emotional fuel that got spent last week, along with a lot of physical fuel. And there have been some family stuff that's gone down, so it has been a journey, everybody. Oh man, what's going on, Stargate? What's up? Told you I would be back. Yeah, this week has just been a thing. All right. Yeah, so here I am, middle-aged man doing the adulting thing. And yeah, it's a tough one, but there's a reason that I understand what people go through, because since I'm older, I was born in a time where there was more money, more opportunity, and transitioning into adulthood was easier. All right. And that brings me to today's topic. All right. Today's topic: work and reward within RPGs. This is a big one because, as everything that we write about on this show, it's not just about RPGs. So my girlfriend, what's going on, Daryl? My girlfriend is a tutor, and she came to me, she was just sitting at home doing that 1,000-yard stare that you do when you're trying to figure out a problem. And I'm like, all right, what's going on? And she was like, this weekend's tutoring session was a little difficult. It's a little difficult because the student wasn't engaged. They wanted to see how fast it would take to drink their drink out of a cup with a spoon versus actually doing the assigned assignment. I think it was a math assignment of some kind. I don't know. But, and I'm like, okay. So I asked the question because I forget that I've been a teacher for a long time. What are they interested in? And how can you make that subject that they actually like relevant to what you are trying to teach them? So we're going to go on that. And that's like the work and the reward. Now, there's a lot of newer players. And when I say newer players, I mean people that have been playing for 3 to 5 years in tabletop RPGs. Okay. And a lot of new players in tabletop miniatures games, a lot of new players in video games. But in video games, there really isn't this problem in such a public way. It's one of the reasons that we don't talk about them that much on this channel. There's an old saying in the military that everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. All right. I've talked about that before, but I want to go in on it. Okay. When we're pitched certain things, there's a lot of marketing that goes into getting people interested in a new thing. And one of the things that we do is we tell people how cool things are because we enjoy them, right? I think they're in high school, or junior high school, one of the two. But we talk about things, how cool they are, after we put in the work. That's after we had the primers, after we've gone through the learning curve. Now, I've been working with a store on the 3D printing projects, and they're going through the learning curve of learning how to balance a machine and learning which validation matrices to use and all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff that goes there. And in our lives, with our jobs, with our schools, with our hobbies, with everything that's there, we get good at stuff. And I mean the get good noob. We get good in two ways. Either by continuing to do it until we have a subconscious understanding of what we're doing. That's what psychologists call unconscious competence. Or we study and train and give all of the flat footage, or the you see how tired I am? The raw footage, rather, for the montage. Okay, I mean, we're doing all the stuff, and occasionally we can look up and we can hear things like, "You're the best around, no one's ever gonna hear you down," you know. Or we're sitting up on the log on the beach. Kick. Kick. All right. And most of us, if you were born after 1975, are trained to think within montage, okay? Because we got Rocky, the Karate Kid, most fighting movies, blah, 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 blah. We got so much media that we grew up on that shows the montage. And we want to skip toward the reward, right? So what do we do? Well, this person, when they were doing the tutoring things, it was math because they had half of the answers for the assignment. And that's the thing. When we look at stuff, especially in the role-playing games or in the tabletop games or just in a lot of things in general, we tend to focus on the right answer, okay? Not the path, the result, all right? But I got the answer right. It was 4, all right? It was 4. That was the answer to the question. Why are you on my back? Leave me alone. The answer was 4. And it's like, yeah, the answer was 4. But did you calculate it? Or did you guess? It doesn't matter. The answer was 4. Leave me alone. And that's the thing. When we focus on only the result, only the end, we sometimes intrinsically, but most of the time sneakily, forget the method that we get there. Now, there's 100 videos and all this stuff saying exactly what I'm saying on that level. But I'm going to tell you this, okay? Because this is a really big thing, okay? And this is something that I want to say to empower you guys. Okay, you ready? You ready for this? All right, you ready? Here we go. You already do it all the time. You go through the methodology to get to the right answer all the time. You just don't notice that you're doing it. Okay? I honestly like watching propaganda stuff from the 1950s because it's fun. And one of my favorite ones is called Hired. You can find this on YouTube. And it's this boss going, blah, 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 my employees suck. They don't make the proper sales. They don't know what to do. Blah, 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 blah. And his dad is like, that's funny. You sound just like your boss did when you first started. But do you do the stuff with the newbies that your boss did with you? Do you show them how to follow a lead? Do you and all of this stuff? And a lot of people forget what it was like when they were new. In my hood, it's, man, you done forgot where you came from. when they're not using it as an excuse because you said no and they're trying to make you feel bad about it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah. And there is, yeah, thank you, Daryl. You know, do you know it or did you learn it? All right. So how do we tackle this thing? Now, when I say you do it all the time, this happens in video games all the time. All the time. Video games hide the learning curve in ways that nothing else can. All right? Or should I say nothing else can as well. This is what's called gamifying knowledge. All right? And that's one of the things I want to talk to you guys about today. Most of us, when we sit down at an RPG table, we're like, I want to do this spell and this stuff, and I want to be throwing fireballs and fighting 18 goblins at once, and yeah! And for you vets out there, y'all know what I'm talking about. When you signed up, you were thinking Rambo, not Full Metal Jacket. You know? That was a really big thing because the stuff that we're sold, the marketing, shows us what happens after the suck. All right? After the work is done and we get the cool dress uniform. Like, have you guys noticed whenever you see commercials about colleges, they always show graduation? You know, they don't show the Adderall addiction, the tears, the dropping classes, the being put on probation. They just show the graduation ceremony, right? And I'm like, wow, it's not being sold a bill of goods. It is, if you swim through the mud, this is on the other side. But they never, ever tell you about the mud. All right? So, how do we address this when it comes to learning new games or teaching new games? Well, I've got a couple of advice things, or a couple of suggestions. Yeah, fighting games are a little different, Daryl, because I'm talking like most regular console games, especially first-person shooters, or even things like Dark Souls. Fighting games, they're from my day of the arcade, where it was, oh my god, I'm a dying machine and I live on money. Feed me more money. Yeah, this is called Mortal Kombat. Give me your money. 1 quarter at a time. But that puts us in this mode of practice. Now, a lot of people ask me, when I'm a GM and I invite a new person to my table, why do I always start people off at level 1? I do that to gauge how well they know how to play the game, so I know I can write an adventure that would engage them. But when a lot of people are so focused on winning, getting the right answer, getting through the conversation, this tends to lead to shortcuts and hacks without an understanding of why the right answer is the answer. All right? Now, let me explain what is so important about this. All right? And I'll use music as a metaphor because I'm a musician. When I was out there and I was young, and every working musician has this story. When I was out there trying to get work, a lot of things, or a lot of auditions and functioning for bands and stuff fell down to 2 categories: the people who knew music and the people who knew songs. All right? You pick up a musical instrument, you can learn a song all day. All right? And when you get good at the song, people won't be able to distinguish between you and your playlist when you're playing along with it and speakers are involved. Okay? One of my practices when I was younger was putting on my favorite radio station and playing everything that came on. That was like my boss battle, if you will, because there was no rewinding, there was no pausing, there was keep up. All right? But there was a point where I knew some songs Okay, this was when I played with a bass. This was before I played the bass. And I knew some songs, I could do some cover stuff, but I didn't understand styles of music or keys or anything like that. But I knew a few songs, all right? The songs were the answers. I knew the answer. Oh, we're going to be playing this song from Rush. I'll play this song from Rush. We're going to play this song from the Beatles. I'll play this song from the Beatles. We're going to do this Metallica song. I'll do this Metallica song. But could I play a song like Rush, like the Beatles, like Metallica? Could I come up with my own stuff? No, I couldn't. I couldn't come up with anything signaturely me. Because mixed metaphor time, I didn't know the language of music. I just knew a few phrases. Okay, how many of us understand? God, I'm very tired today. But when it comes to learning a foreign language, you get those primers. ¿Dónde está biblioteca? Okay, yeah, where's the library? But do we know why the words are in that order? What the punctuations are? What the conjugation of the verbs are? No. But we know ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? And this is what it's like to get the answer. This is where it's like, well, I'll just throw a fireball. Well, I'll just throw a fireball. Well, I'll just throw a fireball. Or I'll just hit them with the maximum amount of things. Now, D&D, as we know, is more of a fight simulator. Okay, it's every role-playing game, and we'll be talking about this later on this week. Every role-playing game is a type of game with an emphasis on blank. All right. Dungeons and Dragons has always been adventure with an emphasis on combat. Call of Cthulhu is a horror game with the emphasis on investigation. Vampire the Masquerade was a horror game with an emphasis on politics. You see what I mean? And when most people focus on the emphasis, they can learn some songs. They can learn some phrases. I know how to do this in combat. Cool. But can you talk down, can you bargain with a merchant? Can you solve a puzzle? When all you have is a hammer, right? So how, having an understanding of the fact that the answer can be the answer, but understanding why the answer can be correct. Now that we have that kind of under our belts, are we there? We got that there? We good? We good on that? All right. Since we're good on that, let's talk about how to get an understanding of the games that we are playing. All right. It's very simple, but not easy. All right. I know when people are at a table, at one of my table, I ask a lot of questions. I don't grill them. I'm not like, no, you lying. Or wait, so you went into the garage at 7:00, right? Yeah. So you went into the garage at 7. Yeah. So 7 was the time you went to the garage. Yeah. So you enter the garage around 7. No, I'm not that guy. But I ask a lot of, what do you mean by that question? What are you trying to figure out? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Because currently, because of internet culture, social media only have, I don't want to sound like, social media messed us all up, because back in my day, you could use words. No, I'm not going to say that. What I am saying, though, is sort of that. Since city life in the 21st century is so fast paced, so fast, you got to hurry up and get there. With school, got to get the grade. At work, got to finish the assignment. Got to meet the deadline. That even when you're in training, you're not trained to understand what you're doing. generally. You're trained to get it right so that they can move on and get that profit for this fiscal quarter. All right, that's the world we live in. So, where does the work come in? The work comes in in taking your quiet moments and really asking how something works. Okay? How does it work? Why is this the right answer in opposed to anything else? That's the lesson. Okay? Most of the time, that's what most of our teachers and schools are trying to show us. But they don't put it in that language because they have administration, and administration is about getting that money from the state, and the state's about give me better grades. So it's this great big cycle of blah. All right? But this is where games come in. Because with games, we can practice our critical thought. All right? In our critical thought, let's say we're playing D&D. We have armor class. Okay? Armor class is 15. Okay, let's just say your armor class is 15. All right, 15. That is what a thing has to hit on the die in order to hit you. You got your bonuses, and you've got your die roll to reach 15. All right? Well, we can easily solve for X by stating, I'm using a sword. A sword is my proficiency bonus plus 2. Plus my strength bonus plus 3. All right, so 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus X equals 15. What do I need to roll to get that 15? Answer is you need 10 or higher. You know, that's solving for X. This is practical application of basic algebra. All right. But a lot of the times, it's really easy to go, yeah, but why is the proficiency bonus 2? And it's like, because it is. Yeah, but why? But why? Hold up. Stop. They said it's 2 because this is the chart that they use in the book, and that's where we're going. Okay? We could get into statistical analysis, but blah. All right? But when it actually comes to doing the work, there's a good amount of the time, people are not engaged with the numbers. So what can we do to get them engaged? Well, the answer is to find out what they are engaged in. What do they like? Like I said, when I have new players at my table, I ask so many questions. If I had a desk and a tie, it would really feel like a job interview. So, what genre of fiction do you like? What were the last movies that you really wanted to buy on DVD or streaming? What's some of the stuff that you like watching on Netflix? What do you like about that stuff? What do you like about story? You know, what do you like about this game? What kind of stuff really keep you in it? What's the stuff that you don't like? You know, that kind of thing. And a lot of people are like, hey, I just want to get down to it. And it's like, look, you are not a mind reader. Your GMs are not mind readers. Okay? Most people that you deal with are not mind readers. And the ones that can read minds tend to not like to. Because most people are a book that you only like certain chapters in. It sounds cynical, but sorry. So when we work, when we do these things for fun, the main thing we're looking at is the reward. And itemizing and breaking down anything, it's a very type A personality thing or a very critical thought scientific type thing. However, there's always a sense of balance. One cannot be erased and have the maximum amount of fun for everybody at the table. All right? I've gamed with a lot of people that didn't want to do the work. And those games inevitably fell apart every single time because they didn't want to learn the game mechanics. They didn't want to think about stuff outside. All right? Hang on. Daryl, if you let me know what book you were talking about, I might be able to remember. So when it comes down to it, learning how the system works is really the best way to maneuver through it. Okay. When I sit down at new GM's tables and I play a wizard, when I show them how I can make cantrips sing, I'm super, 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 super. Thank you, Daryl. I'm going to access those files, and hopefully by the end of the show, I'll remember what the phrase was. I'm super creative and super effective with cantrips. They're stupid. Like, if I'm a wizard and I'm in a party that doesn't have a thief, I'm doing, or a rogue. Sorry, I'm old. I'm using Mage Hand for everything. Is that a trap? I don't know. I'm gonna touch it. Ha ha. Mage Hand touched it. Now it went off. Well, it was a trap. Mage Hand touched it. It didn't go off. All right, cool. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. If I don't have a whole lot of combat skills and stuff, then cool, I'll buy a bunch of oil and make sure I got prestidigitation in that book at any time. I am burning everything. Or I'm putting out fires. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, creative uses of all that stuff, because I have a decent understanding of how a lot of these things can go. All right? In truth, in truth, there are so many good uses for cantrips that's up and out there, and the creative uses, and the GMs that I work with are like, dude, where did you learn that one? I'm like, I just make sense. I think a lot in if and then statements, and this takes work to understand the ifs and thens. All right, it really does. Now, the work doesn't have to be montage worthy. Okay? You don't have to be like me, the wizard, sitting around a bunch of books, going through scrolls while smoking a pipe and going, aha! It is the ring. Wait, I must throw it in the fire. I have to ride back to the Shire. I'm not, it's not that critical. It just takes a little more thought as to what questions you're actually asking. Now, I've noticed when I talk to people under 40 that the way that we communicate between each other is very, very, very inefficient. And when I say inefficient, I mean we're starting to think in doublespeak. We have so many individualized definitions for common words, and we ask a lot of leading questions because we're trying to get something without letting people know what we're asking for, because we don't want them to say no. Let's be real, all right? I'm being 100% real. When people ask me for something, I'm like, what is it that you need it for? What are you trying to accomplish? All right? And they get taken aback, like, no, please don't make me in trouble. I'm like, oh, stop. It's not that you're in trouble. It's just a matter of you're asking for a certain thing, and I might have a better tool for the job. Let me know what you're trying to accomplish, and I'll let you know how you can get there with what's available. And as a GM, I do exactly the same. Why are you guys bothering me now? Oh, thank you, Bishops. That is awesome. Thank you so much for the donation. I'm sitting up going, bothering me. And that ain't a bother. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for the donation. That is awesome. So yeah, when all of that stuff comes down to it, yeah, thank you so much, Dragon Systems. I really appreciate it. So when it was, when all this stuff comes down, all right, when it comes down, what is really important is to understand the system under which you are working, and then you really get an understanding of what the work is entailing. Now, I grew up in a time where people spoke in idioms, and God, what is the name? I really hate them too. Platitudes. They spoke in idioms and platitudes. Work smarter, not harder. Okay, how do I do that? Well, that's up to you to figure out. Aren't I clever? And I'm like, let's see. I know where there's a decent amount of corn. You should have some. All right. That is as PG-13 as I can get with that particular phrase. If you know, you know. So yeah. But real talk. It is really about working smarter, not harder. But they're platitudes and idioms because we never actually examine what working smarter is. All right? That's the real talk. That is the real talk right there. It's, work smarter. You know, I was going through some legal stuff back in 2005, I think it was. And someone was like, no, man, you can't go down like that. Just flip the script on them. Okay, how do I do that? I don't know. Just flip the script. Okay. Let's see. I think in Skin Game Map said games. Games are how we accomplish true work, and you, my knight, are becoming better at them. But I think that's the phrase. Maybe that was enough to jog your memory. But yeah, so as I was sitting up and I was thinking about this type of thing, I was thinking about the student that just wanted to get the right answer because at the end of the day, they just wanted to finish the assignment. All right. When I was coming up, and I'm pretty sure that the phrase is still relevant, but the youngest person I actually interact with is my kid, and they're 22. Is what we used to call studying for the test, or more to the point, cramming for the test. That's not doing your homework, not paying attention in class, not doing anything on the road there, and then the day before the test, cramming the entire chapter into your head. And you remember it long enough to get a decent grade on the test, and none of it sticks. And let's face it, if things haven't changed that much since 1993, that's how most of us got through high school. But that does not prepare us for the world that is, okay? It doesn't prepare us for the natural world, okay? We might know that berries that are blue are good for you, and berries that are poison are bad for you. But if we don't understand the nature of the poison, what systems that the poison affects within the body, if we ingest that stuff accidentally, we're just dead, and we don't know what we could have done to save ourselves. You dig me? All right? And to really understand berries and the body, that helps keep us from getting poisoned. All right? But it's really a change in mindset. Okay? So, when we sit down to a new game, D&D, Call of Cthulhu, Paranoia, Shadowrun. 5th edition is releasing Dragonlance pretty soon, and the world of Krynn is completely different from the world of Dragonlance. Spelljammer's coming out soon. So there's a lot of new stuff that's coming down, which comes with new mechanics and new themes. And you know, summer's coming up, and Air Game Company, I don't care if it's video game, board game, whatever. This is the beginning of a season, and this is the season where people stay home from school. So a whole lot of new stuff is coming out. Which means we'll have the opportunity to learn a lot of new games, play a lot of new systems. We can, and we can really expand our horizons with all of our hobbies. All right? We can do that. We've got those options that are coming down. However, if we put in a little bit of work, okay, it doesn't seem like it's a little bit, but if we put in a little bit of work to really understand the system, then it expedites the process to the reward. For you longtime watchers on the channel, you've heard me talk about the game behind the game, okay? And the true game, the game that's behind the directions or what you've been told from your friends, are the way to get the most out of these systems. And the players that are better than others have a deeper understanding of why the rule is there and what it accomplishes. All right. Now, if you grew up in the public school system, this is something that you were discouraged from learning. Okay. And it's really sad. And I get that. Again, when I read new games and new rule books, I ask the question, why is that rule there? What does it accomplish? And 9 chances out of 10, the answer to that question is it only seems terrible at the lower levels, but if you apply it later on down the line, it would break the game and make it unplayable long term. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, see, I see that. Brr. I mean, seriously, that's a real thing. But here's the gig. I know a lot of gamers, a lot of people like feeling like they're contributing, like feeling like they want to make a difference. They want to feel creative and all that stuff. But I had a counselor when I was in the 7th grade that said, you have to know the rules before you can break them. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, why am I always in trouble for breaking rules I didn't know were there? Because I was, kind of a jerk. But what he meant to say is this, okay? And I can say that now because I'm now older than he was when he told me. And I have a better understanding, which is if you want to break the rules to make what you do more efficient, you have to understand what the rules are there for. As in, there for. What purpose do they accomplish? All right? Now, how does this apply to us? Gamers? Simple. Okay? I got two really, really quick syllables for you guys to come in on this. And I want you guys to take that in, right? All right? Because this is going to be followed with a dramatic pause. Ready? Ready. All right. Home brew. One of the biggest reasons that homebrew rules and house rules break games, make them unbalanced, is because people who make the homebrew rules most of the time don't really understand the mechanics of the game. All right? It's when you do those types of things and you don't understand the mechanics, that means you create something that makes it impossible to DM. Because one of your players is going to use the rule that you wrote to win every scenario, to sidestep every encounter, and it turns things into, well, why don't they just? All right? And don't get me wrong, it's an interesting puzzle, but it doesn't make for an interesting game. Okay? Let me see if I can find this thing. When I came up with the homebrew for my weapon system, okay, the weapon system that I created on this, or not the weapon system, sorry, the damage system that I used. All right, the damage system that I used for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons is kind of rough. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pulling up a picture of it as soon as I can find it. It's kind of rough. I ain't gonna lie. But the way that I use it, okay, since I do everything evenly across the board, the way that I use the thing actually makes it functional. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back. I don't really care about that kind of thing. But let me see if I can find this thing here. But here's the thing on it. And this is, I think I know it's I know it's somewhere in the Discord, but I'm looking for it on my hard drive. But it took me 2.5 days asking myself the question, number one, what will this accomplish? There we go, the damage types. Yeah, I had to ask myself the question, what does this accomplish? And does it lead to insta kills? Yeah, does it lead to insta kills at mid to higher levels? You know, and is it easy to come across? You know, and most of this homebrew that I put together is just a tiny addition based on the rules that were already there, like exhaustion rules and poisoned rules and the rules for blind, all the conditions that are, I think, on page 76 of the 5th edition player's manual. I put everything together using that system. Okay. And as I did that, I had a much better understanding of the system, and the people that I've game tested this with love it. They love it. Not just because it makes Witch Bolt a workable spell, but because it gives a little bit more immersion. It takes away the excuses of, well, why don't they just? Well, why don't they just? Yeah, not gonna lie. Poison, man, that is tough. When it comes to things like when I'm running stuff from the World of Darkness, I understand the numbers in World of Darkness, you know, like, why do you get 3 more dice for burning a willpower? Dude, that 3 more dice gives you 3 more chances at a 20% success rate. All right. When all you need is 1 success to do to not fail at something. The average is 3 to 5 dice in the lower levels, since World of Darkness is so draconian with their XP. You get 3 to 5 dice to do something special. If you burn a willpower, you get another 3. Okay, which means its success rate is 1 out of 5. Okay, 1 out of 5. That's 20%. All right, so if you're rolling 5 dice, you'll probably get 1 success. Okay, that's what the laws of averages are. And when you get 3 more dice, well, you're adding a higher percentage to your chance of getting a success. Okay, that's big. That's huge. So this is what we're talking about as far as understanding systems and putting in the work. This is really big when you're trying to understand dice systems. In Call of Cthulhu, that's a skill-based percentile game. So anything you can do to raise your chances. You know, if you have a 70% chance of success, then you're rolling the die and you're trying to get under 30%, right? Or under 70%. You're good. Interesting, Dragon Systems. You're popping up a meme or something. Oh, it's a GIF. What is that? Looks like a t-shirt? I don't know. Yeah, no, you're just doing stuff in yeah, you're just putting stuff up in the Twitch chat, and just to avoid viruses and hate raids, I've got the thing set up. So yeah, so understanding the systems that you're working with really allow you to crack the code as to the why of something. And once you understand the why, you have a much higher chance of doing what it is that you set out to do. Okay, that is the big thing. One of the things that infuriates people when I'm working with them is I am really big, really big on This is what I want to accomplish. How can I get there? All right. And if it's a roundabout method, I'll take the roundabout method. If it's a direct method, I'll take a direct method. I think this comes from my personal history of not learning how to drive until I was 30. I will explain. If you don't know how to drive and you live in a place like the greater Los Angeles area, you're taking public transportation everywhere. All right? You New Yorkers know what I'm talking about. There are 18 different ways to get to any location, and the time of day determines how much better or how much faster you'll get there. All right. So when I'm taking public transportation, sometimes I have to take one bus route to one place, or I have to know 4 or 5 bus routes to one place. Or I can try and bum a ride, or sometimes I can try and grab I learned how to drive before Uber was a thing, but I might be able to get a taxi. I might be able to bum a ride. I might just have to walk. But what's important is that I get there. Okay? Now, that may sound like I'm saying it's all about the answer. But it really isn't, because understanding why I have to be there, my methodology, that's big, you know. But I do understand a lot of us come from a culture of because I said so. So you ask why, and they say because I said so. Okay. One thing that I love about the pandemic is that gave a serious masks off moment to a lot of things. Like, look, I'm just pushing paperwork and emailing my results. Can I work from home? Well, no, you can't work from home. We can't. Why not? Because I need you to come in. Well, why do you need me to come in? Because I said so. And now we can't come in. Everybody can work from home. And it's like, wait a minute. You said we couldn't do this. You see what I mean? But the fact of the matter is, the people that excel at what they do are the ones that understand the why behind the process. And this is where the rewards come in. Okay? But I get it. I get that a lot of us want to feel a certain way. We want to feel clever. We want to feel like we're good at something. And the the line that we were sold growing up, and again, I learned this from music, is divinely inspired talent. Well, if you're a musician, you can hear a song one time and play it. Depends on the song. Okay? There are a lot of songs that I can listen to one time and play it. Why? Because I understand some music theory, and I understand what the band that wrote the song listened to. You know, I know that a good amount of rock and roll is based on the G major scale. So they're going to be like G, 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 B, D, G, C, G, C, G, C, B, 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 D. You know, I mean, and I think The Axis of Awesome has a great song that literally plays the same chord progression for like 15 or 16 different songs. So am I a great musician? No, I know 1 or 2 songs that get repeated over and over and over and over again. And sometimes I can listen to a song going, oh my God, I know that, and I can learn it quickly. But just because you can repeat back what someone says to them, what someone says to you, doesn't mean you understand what they mean. And just because you can quote something from a book doesn't mean that you understand the context and the meaning of those things. Okay? Yeah, corporate didn't want us to take the credit for better business decisions from regular people. In some cultures, yes, because I said so was the word of law in my house, but the foundation of our family was born 15 minutes out of slavery, you know, but it all comes down to don't question me, just obey. And blind obedience Obedience without understanding what it is that you are doing is kind of the nature of Western civilization in the 21st century. Okay, and there is a pushback against that. But if we do the work and we understand this is how we become hackers, game hackers, life hackers, but we have to be willing to do the work. We have to understand the basic concepts of, if you're talking D&D, what is a D20 game? What are the things that make this game this game? What is the difference between 5th edition and 3rd edition? You're rolling you're rolling a D20. Okay. How do you come up with target numbers? When I was first learning 5th edition and I saw the difficulty chart or the bonus chart, like if you have this score in your strength, this is what your bonus is. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. It's based on the laws of averages. This is the law of average, which means it's a 0 bonus. It's not going to be harder, nor is it going to be easier. It's a thing. But the fact of the matter, okay, the real fact of the matter is once I understood that I'm dealing with the laws of averages and I'm playing the numbers and stuff, I can work bonuses. I mean, I don't like to min-max. That's not really my thing. I like making balanced characters who are good at one thing and not terrible at anything. Or sometimes I make them terrible at something because it's more fun to fail for me. It gives the GM more to work with and me more game to play. Yes, I drink a lot of coffee. Y'all know this. So when all is said and done, okay, through the methods that we talk about, the understanding of the systems, know this, and y'all know who I'm talking to. I'm not going to mention anybody by name because I'm talking to a type of person right now. Ready? Ready. You don't get to determine when you know the basics. Okay? Because here's the thing. You learn the basics, then you build on the basics. Now, a lot of people I know developed this habit from high school. God knows I had it. We say, I know the basics. I understand the basics. I know what you're talking about. Fact of the matter is, if we did, we wouldn't have been in trouble. If we had known the basics, then people wouldn't be talking to us about the basics. And when I say the basics, I mean the basics, not the bare essentials. All right? The bare essential of a D20 game. You roll a D20. How do you come up with the numbers? The basics, knowing what your armor class is for what your character is wearing, knowing your proficiency bonus, knowing which skills coincide with what traits, strength, dexterity, wisdom, all that stuff. Those are the basics. Okay, that's the stuff you learn from levels 1 through 5. But what we tend to do in 21st century America is we go straight for that answer. We try and get creative. When I used to teach guitar, so many students I had wanted to go straight to the middly mouths. Okay, what are the middly mouths? Middly mouth. And they couldn't do a basic E major chord, the first chord that you learn on guitar. Okay, and they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to learn scales. They didn't want to learn music theory. In short, they didn't want to learn everything that's required to get the results they wanted. They just wanted the answer. And that's what today's entire episode is about. It's important to understand what the result that you are aiming for consists of. If you are going to take absolutely. If you are going to accomplish, or if you're going to receive your desired result in an efficient manner. And that's important. Efficient manner. All right. We can eventually get there, but it takes the same level of commitment to just meander to get there in 7 years than it would to buckle down and practice and get there in 2. I know this. I did this. One of the things that I had to laugh at my junior high school algebra teacher for was she showed me in practice that I spent more energy trying to get out of taking a test than it would have taken to study and ace the test. I'm dead serious. This is one of the reasons I stopped lying a long time ago. Not because I have a bunch of integrity, but coming up with a believable lie, doing the research to make sure that if someone looks into it, they don't find any glaring absences, coming up with false paperwork, getting your friends to go along with it, figuring out which of your friends you can depend on to not accidentally give you away versus, yeah, I done it. Yeah, this is what I'm going to do. You know, I mean, seriously. All that energy in trying to hide the lie and not get punished tends to be more exhausting than the punishment. When I was in junior high, that was when I started smoking. And I got caught at school with a pack of cigarettes. Not smoking it, I literally just had it in a pocket. It fell out of my pocket. And my teacher was like, "This doesn't belong on campus. You are going to get suspended until your mom comes in here and has a thing." And I thought, I would say she's going to tan my hide, but, you know. No, I thought she was going to beat the black off me and then tan my hide. And I agonized and I stressed and I hid and I came up with excuses left, right, and sideways. Oh, no, she's busy at work. Oh, she can't do that. You know, and all that other stuff, right? And then when I said, look, I'm going to get suspended unless you come in for a parent-teacher conference, I got caught with a pack of cigarettes and I got in trouble. She was like, "Were they yours?" "Yeah." "Do you smoke?" "Yeah." "Just don't smoke in front of me." End of discussion. Okay. I agonized for a month. Yeah, I agonized for a month. A month. For my mom to be like, "Yeah, don't smoke in front of me. By the way, give me a cigarette." I'm like, all right, fine. You know, and that's really the whole thing. So when it comes to understanding the rules and understanding the people that you're working with and understanding what game you're playing, that takes a lot more energy than disengaging, and the results that you're looking for are not 100% guaranteed. I'm sorry to tell you guys, when they say nothing in the world is promised except for death and taxes, it's true. Every single one of us is going to die one day. All right? That's some, you know, we can push it off, we can do whatever, but it's going to happen. Okay? There is no guarantee that following the directions will give you the result that you want. Okay? However, the more you understand, the higher the probability of that success you get. This is why there are botches in role-playing games, because quite often you can do everything right and then the world shifts in such a way where you still lose. Okay, that's what happens when you roll that natural one, y'all. I know it sounds messed up, but the fact is it can happen. You know, there are so many things that I do and that you guys do super easy, and I'm talking super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Like breathing. like freaking drinking water. How many of us have botched our roles at drinking water by we're drinking water and then we choke for no for no apparent reason? You know, it happens from time to time. All right. The more we understand that that stuff is going to happen, but that doesn't mean we drink every cup of water by trying to breathe in our nose at the same time. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't try drinking even if the person that makes us laugh isn't around. You see what I mean? So the more factors of things you understand, the more likely you are to get the reward. All right. So I want you guys to think on that. Really, really think on that. The work, the effort does not have to be work. That is important. And when I say work, it doesn't have to be an arduous chore filled with blood, sweat, tears, and pain. It can just have a few tears and a little pain. You know, the blood is not compulsory. All right. And yeah, I was taught a long time ago that there's no such thing as growth without pain. And there really isn't. All right. But if you ask anybody who's jacked, they're sore when they come home or, you know, a couple hours after they're at the gym. They don't say it. They're too busy saying, oh, no, I feel amazing. I have so much energy. And I'm like, I put it out there. When I'm working out regularly, I have the same amount of energy I always had because most of the energy that I get that's extra is managing pain. Like, seriously, and it's like, no, you learn to love the pain. No, shut up. At least I grew up in the 80s where it was no pain, no gain, you know? But yeah, doing the work does not have to be an arduous task. But it does have to be something where a person is willing to understand that the answer isn't what the lesson is about. The path is what the answer is about. And if you don't believe me, I challenge you to look into your own life and ask yourself the question, do you know how to get across town? Or do you always use the app that tells you to turn left and turn right? My question is, you know, if you understand the type of life you want to live, you know, I don't have any judgments whatsoever. I study maps because I'm pre-maps. Thanks, Dragon Systems. You know, good looking out, by the way. And thank you so much for the $5 donation. Yeah, but the real talk on this is like, I know a lot of people that are like, oh no, I just put the map in and they do the whole thing. And I'm like, well, I know how to get across town. So I'm gonna go across town. I'll meet you guys over there. How'd you get here before me? The map said that there was a traffic jam here. Yeah, there was, but I didn't take that route because I know where people work, what the traffic conditions are. And when people are like, how do you always know how long it's going to take to get there? I'm like, because I understand traffic. I understand traffic and driving and people. So I can give a more detailed account. Is it wizardry? Yeah, kind of. You know, I don't always have to change the weather, but or slow down time. But I can maneuver because I understand the system of stuff that we're going for. So when you find yourself in the position where you're focused on the answer, it may serve you to take a step back and think about why the answer is the answer. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? I often ask, why are you asking me that question? Or what is the question behind that question? So that I can get to that instead of dealing with the surface issue. Okay? And I don't do all this because I'm such a great guy and I'm better than that. I'm just too tired to run around in those circles. I've got way too much to do in most of my days. And I mainly, especially when I'm going through something, I only sleep about 2 to 3 hours a night. So I don't have the energy to go around and around and around and around and around. I'm like, okay, where am I going? These are the cross streets. I know how to get there. over the weekend, I went to a friend's house, and I'm like, all right, what's his address? Oh, dude, he's just around the corner. Cool. And I know like 8 ways to get there. And he's like, wait, you're only over there? I'm like, yeah, that's it, you know? IKRL. I don't even know what that means, clever little vixen. I don't know your abbreviations. I'm not young. But again, when I understand what the purpose of things are, what they're trying to accomplish, sometimes I know a different way to get there. Sometimes I know a way to get there with what I have to work with. And sometimes I can just follow the directions as stated, as long as I understand what the purpose is. Okay? So, with that, I want to thank everybody who's being there. Yes, the merry-go-round can be fun sometimes, Stargate. Oh, okay. I know, right? All right, that's what you mean. Yeah, sometimes the merry-go-round can be fun, but not when I'm pushing it. And that's pretty much where I'm at quite a lot. But I want to thank all you guys for showing out. Major shouts out to my royalty tier on my Patreon, and if you want that particular shout out, just head over to Patreon and pop up on the royalty tier starting at $20 a month, like we're talking about with my queens: Shannon Boom Boom Lay, Jennifer Kroll, Laura Holton, Shaylee Watson, Frank Perkins, Joel, yeah, I think it's Joel. Oh no, it's Noel Olheiler. My king tier being Laura Gross, Christopher Chalmers, and Daryl Couch. We also have my ace in the hole in Mr. Joseph Hines. So I want to thank all you guys for being here for that. Now, I'm going to be fading to black after all this stuff to officially say the show is gone. But we're going to keep talking so I can give you guys an update on what we have been doing and what is coming down the pike. All right, so if you guys got any questions, send me a letter at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. You can also hit me up on Twitter and on Instagram and on TikTok. Twitter and Instagram, the social media that we all have and none of us like. Yeah, you can also hit us up on TikTok and at BidP. I'm writing out puppet sketches and writing a bunch of skits and video essays. But in the meantime, if anybody tells you that you can't like what you like because of the circumstances of your birth, being race, religion, creed, gender identity, sexual orientation, any disability, or your budget, you can tell those people to take any of those cards and put them back in the deck. This is Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, saying thank you guys for joining me, and we will see you tomorrow on the dark side of the room.